Hi everyone. In this video, we'll discuss the use of output for component communication in Angular. So suppose I have an event in one component and I want it to get handled in some another component. So do you think Angular allows us to do that? Well, yes. In Angular, we have output and event emitter, which allow us to emit event from one component to another component. So to execute a function of parent component on the click of a button which is available in the child component, we will use the decorator output. Now let's go and try implementing it in Visual Studio Code. So here we have already created a project using ng-new, and we have two components in our project. One is the parent component, which is called app.component.ts, and another is the child component, which is called child.component.ts. Now in the child component, we have a button which says click me here. So now we want that when the user clicks on this button, it should handle some event which is mentioned in the parent component, that is inside app.component.ts. So for that, we need to create an event in the child component which is decorated by output. That is our main purpose. Let's see how. So inside the class of the child component, let us create an object called foo. And because we want it to emit an event to the parent component, let's decorate it with the decorator output. So now this object foo should emit this event. So for that we use new event emitter. This is the syntax, new event emitter. So now when we go over this, it says it cannot find name output. So we need to import it, we need to declare it and put it in the import statement. So before that, yes, so we'll import it to the import declaration. Here it is. Now we need to create an event, let's say food, and set a counter value. So before that we need to initialize the value of the counter. Let's say counter equals to 0, and inside our event, let's say this dot counter equals this dot counter plus 1. So we have incremented its value to plus 1. We will do one more thing. We want that it should emit this event using the object that we created, and emit the event, and inside that we'll pass the index, the counter that we have used as the argument counter. Hope we are going in the right direction till now. So now that we have created these in the class of the child component, we go to the template of the child component and use our button that we just created. So we want that on the click of this button, so we'll say click, we want this button to access this event that we just created, which is food inside single quotes. Now let's save it. So now that we are done with the child component, let's go to the parent component and see how to use our child component inside this. So now to display the value of the counter, let's take a function display counter. You can give any name to this function, and inside that let's give a value of the counter. So there in the child component we named the counter as counter. Here let's say count, and inside that, using console.log, let's display the value of this dot count, or you can simply say count. Right. So now to use this function that we just created, we go to the template of our parent component and using event binding, and inside that we'll use the object that we created. Let us declare it here. So here we'll say display counter and pass on the argument value, which is this. Now let's see the results. So now that we have compiled our project successfully, Let's go to the browser to see the results. So when we run the application here, we should see the value of the counter in the browser console when we click this button. So once I click this button, I want to see the value in the console, in the browser console. So each time I click the button, the counter value should be increased by 1. So I'm pressing the button and the value is getting incremented. So this is what we wanted as the output of our project. So for more references and to learn more topics in Angular, refer to these 2 books by BPB Publications and understand Angular better. Also, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you everyone.